If you don't change with the time will change you. I never wanted to work for anybody because when you work for anybody, you are selling your time for money. And the time is limited.
Vijay Kanwar is one of the most influential entrepreneurs
and philanthropists in Canada.
So you're also in the board of directors of BDC, governor in New York University, Treasury Board of Canada, director in MLSE, board of governors, members in Royal Ontario Museum. The list is endless. So what is the advice that you would like to give for networking?
You don't do network because you want to belong somewhere. You do network because ultimately you want to contribute. But the most important thing of the network is...
Which is your favorite car?
My first Ferrari. It's called 575 Marnello. I think to me, the person sitting in the car matters the most rather than what the car is driving a person. Legacy, in my opinion, is related to when you die. Who cares when you die? Who cares, tell me? Everybody gonna forget you within a year.
Probably less.
The one thing I did not like in India was that food is a very private, personal matter that nobody knows except you.
Pizza, fast food, burgers.
Pizza is very good for you. My father said, if you drink alcohol, your brain gonna...
Oh God. What is the biggest regret that you have had in your life?
I miss my mother. And she didn't get a chance to see my success.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for coming to the show. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
Amazing. I have a lot of questions, and just before we started this conversation, I think there's so much things that we spoke off camera. Mm-hmm. We want to bring few things in the camera also, but I have a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. You could see. These are the pages of your accomplishments. We're going to get there.
Sure.
And before I get started with everything, I have a very selfish questions to ask you about your car collection.
Well, it's quite a bit of background why I like cars. About 23, 24 years of my life, I mostly walked back home or I had a bicycle. You can imagine riding a bicycle, going to school, college, or play sports is 50-degree temperature outside. Then this is Celsius. Mm-hmm. So when I came to Canada and I got in the car, it was a very different meaning to me. Being an engineer, I understand the combustion engine very well. I understand what is a good engine and what the transmission do to the four wheels. So at that time, everything was 8-cylinder or 12 cylinders. Mm-hmm. And then later on, the turbos came and those kind of... I started liking those cars because of the power. So I like V12s. Mm-hmm. I like straight V12s or WV12s. And I like heavy cars. And because it's not the luxury or anything, I enjoy riding them.
Which is your favorite car?
I have come over it now. There was a time I will say this is my favorite because at that time car was a status symbol, not anymore. Now my favorite car is, if it makes me feel good, that's my favorite car.
What are the top 3 vintage cars or cars back in the day that you had? That were your favorite during that time?
I started collecting vintage also. The oldest one I have was 1937 Chrysler Glenbrook. And there was 4-cylinder, just like a lawnmower. Mm-hmm. And I had that, and I was scared to drive it, but happy to look at it. Then I mostly like SUVs. Then I fell in love with the pickup trucks.
Okay.
And then I like Ferraris only.
Which one?
Any Ferrari that has a 12-cylinder. There are not many left now. Mm-hmm. So my oldest car Ferrari I have is my first Ferrari, which I bought in 2002.
Okay.
It still looks brand new, and it runs like a brand new. Then the next car.
Which one is that?
It's called 575 Marnello.
Okay.
They don't make it anymore. So this is one of the few that's still running. Then I do like Bentleys because of the weight, the power, and especially the engineering behind it. Mm-hmm. Then when it comes to the pickup, it's all North American trucks. Nobody makes better than North American trucks.
Like Ford, Ram?
Ram, And then the way back when, there used to be Lincoln used to make nice pickup trucks.
Oh, is it?
And SUVs also.
SUVs they make.
Yeah. And then this used to call navigators. So they're all cars. I rode it because when you're raising the kids, you need vans also, the sports equipment. So I've gone through all.
Yeah.
They're all good.
They're all good.
Yeah, they're all good. I think to me, the person sitting in the car matters the most rather than what the car is driving a person. I always want to feel that I am driving the car.
Do you still drive the car?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you love driving, that means.
I love driving. I don't like sitting beside anybody.
Is it because you trust your own driving, or is it that you love driving?
I enjoy driving.
You enjoy driving. Yeah. All right, let's get started with your journey. You came to Canada 40 years ago? 1985, 40 years ago. And like we were speaking earlier, that you are also coming from a boarding school, Sanar, right? You've studied from Thapa University. It's one of the most, even today, it is one of the best institutes in India. I never got admission in Thapa University, by the way. I applied for it. And then in 1985, you came to Canada. You had pretty much, you could have made a very good life in India. Why did you leave India and come to Canada?
Well, there's a little bit story behind it. Like what you see today, that's not the way I was raised. I will get up in the morning when I was a little kid because I was the youngest in the family. And I was supposed to help the other two so they can study more. I would get up in the morning. Everybody has a cow, sheep, and those kind of things to have the milk. And I will clean the cow dung and milk the cow. That was my duty when I was about 5 years old. And that everything has to be done before the sunrise. Because the milk at that time was the only nutrition. And that's where the breakfast used to start. Then at that time, my parents were survivors from the World War II. And the only way they will feel successful if the children rise. And the only way for a middle class to rise was through the power of education. So we were three of us. Two became engineers, one became doctor. So my parents' journey was accomplished. Their desire was accomplished. I done a lot of things around the house, and I'm very proud of it because I was helping my parents and I learned a lot. So for me...
Were you the youngest one?
I was the youngest one, yeah. So as I told you, doing good in school was no problem for me. Like I always excel at. I didn't have any issues with that. Excel in sports wasn't an issue for me either. So my father wanted me to be a doctor because my oldest has become a doctor. And the reason they say engineer or doctor when I was probably born, because those were the profession you come out in those years, you are on the top. Like my father used to say, you're in the top 2%. So here I am, within a few years, I became top 2%. And I felt it that way. The one thing I did not like in India was the inequality and treating people according to their status. And I just didn't feel good about it because my mother never practiced that. My father never practiced that. And I say, I don't want to live here.
Which part of India were you from?
Punjab, Patiala.
Patiala.
So here I am. He said, what do you want to do? I say, I want to go abroad. Where you want to go? I say, USA or Canada. So anyhow, I got into Canada. You know, it was hard for my parents to buy the ticket, to give me some money. Only money you could bring at that time was $100 US because the Indian government didn't allow it. But look at this. I was the youngest child in the family. And my father came with me to drop me to Canada. For my father, I was always the youngest baby.
You were pampered.
Yeah. He came to drop me just in case.
Just in case.
So here I am, you know, he had somewhere to go, so he lived with them, and I didn't have almost nowhere to go, where I'm going to sleep, how I'm going to do it.
So you had no relatives, no family here in Canada by that time?
No. So long story short, but the moment I landed at the Toronto Pearson Airport, I knew it's for me. Whatever the feeling was.
The vibe.
The vibes. And I remember sitting in a taxi looking at the big bridges above me around 427 at Airport Road. And I still remember. And I said, this is for me. So here I am, third day, I'm working as a parking lot helper at Bay and Dundas, where there's a high-rise building now. And my love for the cars, I'm driving other people's car, no driver's license, moving the cars, just enjoying it. The best thing I liked, it was $4 an hour.
Yeah.
And I'll work 14, 16, 18 hours a day. I will get $80 for 20 hours. And I felt good. Then I will always read newspaper.
And by that time, you were already an engineer, passed out from Thapar College, Thapar University, came to Canada.
Yeah.
And were you looking for other jobs as well
Yes.
at the same time?
Yes. So this was the base I had to do it. So I got that job.
Just for the survival purposes.
Yeah, survival.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty good job, actually. I was driving cars, other people's car.
And what engineering did you do?
I did mechanical engineering and I specialized in production. So automobile aeronautics was my specialty.
Was your specialty?
So I'm reading newspaper, always read newspaper, always read, current situation. And there was a job opening at McDonnell Douglas, close to the airport. And they were looking for aeronautical engineers. I went there. Before I was going there, so one of the person with whom I was staying, they say, you ain't gonna get it because you're brand new. I said, why I'm brand new? I lived there for 24 years. I'm not a brand new. So I went there. I borrowed the car. I'm driving the car without driver's license. No GPS, no Waze. I'm looking in the rear mirror. I didn't want to be late for that interview. I made it. And I aced the interview. And they liked me. And they say, come for the medical testing next week. So I told the person with whom I was staying that, hey, I think I got it. He said, no, they're going to reject you in medical. Because that's what they do. You're new. I said, okay. So I went there. I went to the medical. They say, you're good. They gave me a piece of paper. And the paper, it was my name, my address, my social insurance number, whatever. Under driver license. I didn't have driver's license, so I didn't fill it up. Then there was a one section where they say how much salary you want to make. During those times, they used to ask you.
Okay.
Right? And here I am, I say, I'm selected. I'm only a few weeks in this country. What happened if I ask too much? They might reject me. They might take somebody else. Exactly. I didn't know how the system worked there. So I left it blank. I said, no, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Just get me in. Get me in, yeah. So I got in. And in 1985, 86, when you're making about $30 an hour, it was good money.
It was a good money.
It was good money. Yeah, straightway gets you 4-bedroom home, nice car.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Once a year you can go to India and all that. It was good money. And I never looked back at that. I excelled because I was so good with the books and with the theory and the understanding the metal. Because aircraft manufacturing is all about metal and strength. I rose very quickly there.
What was the job?
So he was a production engineer. It's on the floor. So you got hundreds of workers, and you're making tails. Wings and the tails.
Wings and tails for the airplane.
The airplane used to call DC-9, DC-10. That later on became MD-11.
Okay.
So we developed it here.
Okay.
And so you just make the wings. It takes months.
For commercial or is it?
Commercial airline.
Which any airlines you?
So any airline
Could be
buy that plane, MD-11, DC-9.
Just like Boeing or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those, yeah. So slowly, they used to make a component for a fighter aircraft. I can't name it. And that aircraft was having issues while in service in the sea. They couldn't find it, what's the issue is. And one day, one of the guy, we were at the break time, he said, this is the issue. And I just told him, I think I know what it is. And I didn't mean it, I just said it. So all I know, next day, I moved to that department. And that was my assignment. This my theoretical knowledge on the metals, I was able to find theoretically that this is the issue. Because when two dissimilar metals are put together and the environment changes, the strength goes down because of erosion. And they loved it. So here I am now. They wanted me to come to St. Louis, United States. And I say, I don't want to come to US because a few times I went to Buffalo and it was very horrible feeling. I say, I don't want to live in
Why is
America.
that?
Because Buffalo is Buffalo.
What do you mean?
I was at the wrong place, right?
You get the vibe.
Everybody's saying Buffalo is no good, so I say, no, it's not good.
It's not
so
good,
whole
okay.
America is that way. So I said, no, I'm going to stay there. So they will fly me in the morning and they bring me back.
Okay.
And they will pay me a lot of money. They pay me so much money that I cannot believe it. So
How much
That-
would they pay you back then?
I have made in 87, 88, $80,000.
Wow. During that time.
That was a lot of money. If anybody during my time make 30,000, that was good money.
Yeah.
That was good money. And I'm brand
And how much money do you need to afford a house?
At that time, you could buy a 4-bedroom home in Oakville, brand new, with 2-car garage, $150,000.
$150,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is what I bought. So anyhow, so I never wanted to work for anybody because when you work for anybody, you are selling your time for money, and the time is limited. I didn't want to miss how does the Monday afternoon looks and be in the factory. And manufacturing plants, it's not a good environment because
Health-wise?
health-wise also, the social also, and the terminology being used and all, it's nasty, right? And I didn't want to stay there because I never wanted to work for anybody because I went to school so much and all that. Meanwhile, I started going to Sheridan College
Sheridan.
within first 2-3 weeks. Whatever money I save, I go to college and I learned finance. I learned the local terminology and I started buying real estate on the side.
Okay.
Everybody was buying real estate.
Everybody was buying
I
it.
buy the house, I flip it. And there was no capital gains taxes. So I saved a lot of money and I started enjoying it. But two things I always did. I always stayed in school and I was always playing sports. So I never compromised to making sure my health can go down. And I kept improving or making my network. And later on, I'll tell you how I made my network.
Let's go back at 27 years of age when you started your cardiology center. How did you move from being in aeronautics, mechanical engineer, production engineer, to starting your healthcare business?
So here it is. As I told you, I didn't want to work for anybody, but I wanted to do something. I started a business which always going to be in demand. You know, automobile is one of them, food is one of them also, but I saw an opportunity because I'm very health conscious. So every time I was in the gym, I'm a very good squash player, and I will see people not feeling well. So in the community centers, you see all kind of people that come there. Some come to play squash, they're usually fit people. Some just come in to swim, some old and all that. I started realizing that there's an issue.
What kind of an issue?
The issue was the cardiac disease.
Oh.
And the issue was to when these people get sick or they think they're sick or they need to be screened, there was a long waiting. The system was you go see your physician will write a paper, that go to a specialist, the specialist will see whenever they can, then the specialist will send you for diagnostic testing, the results will come whenever they think, and then they might call you. By the time it could be a year. And I saw the opportunity, I said, I can change it. It's so easy. Since being an engineer, so I know they are using too much papers. It's the flow that's causing this delay. And if I can teach the cardiologist that he can make more money or she can make more money, and meanwhile the patient outcomes are good, I think it's a winner. So that's the opportunity I saw. So I changed providing a service in nuclear cardiology diagnostic from diagnostic to a customer service.
Okay.
You are here to serve the customers. Customers happen to be patient, but they're not sick. They're not feeling well. They just want to know what's wrong. So you're supposed to help them. And I was always surrounded by good people. And in 1988, 88, 90, I developed the software with the help of my friends in Israel. And because they were way advanced in software development.
What kind of a
for the
software?
medical. Actually, it was a U.S. Air Force, Israeli Air Force program that we converted into medical software.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it kind of a CRM
It was basically procedure
procedure?
and diagnostics and making sure there's no error. And whenever the Army write a software, there's no room for error there. So I say, you know what, let's get it from the Army. And that was the only choice I had at that time. Then later on, the Microsoft came in, the mouse came in. Before it used to be DOS, DOS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
You
operating system.
Just move with the arrows left, right,
Yeah,
top,
yeah,
bottom.
yeah.
That's it. You didn't have much choice.
Yeah.
If you don't fill in the column 1, you cannot go to the column 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I did. And success came very quickly, expanded.
How many did you start with? Did you start first clinic?
First started in Mississauga, then the second one was Hamilton. I knew geographically which areas need more and more. And how I get to know it is because I got into real estate
Okay.
as a part-timer. Because everybody was in real estate, so I would start buying it and earning good money out of it. And I started knowing the geographical. Where is Hamilton? Where is Niagara Falls? Where is this? I started knowing the population. You got to understand there was no Waze or anything at that time.
No, of course.
There was a book called Purley's Map.
Okay.
You look at the Purley's Map and then you take your car and go. So it was a lot of hard work to get the stats, the population, and those doctors and all. There was a lot of work, but I did it.
So how was did you decide on based on the real estate that where you want to start your diagnostic center?
It's very funny you ask it. So, as a new immigrant, I always wanted to have my office that had shiny glass on it.
Shiny glass.
Yes. Because I remember one day I was in Toronto, I think it was my third or fourth day. I got out of the King subway station and I came out, and the first building I saw was 66 Wellington, the black TD building. And I told myself, this is where I want my office, on the top floor. I start thinking about it, and my neck is all the way up, and I'm seeing buildings and buildings. Then I saw the Royal Bank Plaza. I said, my God, this is gold. So the first location that was opened up was strictly based upon which building has the shiny glass.
Okay. So how many diagnostic centers do you have today?
So these were centers. They had a very high catchment area, very large catchment area. So altogether 14. Yeah.
And what do you mean by nuclear?
So nuclear, it's a form of diagnostic. It's pretty advanced.
Okay.
It's close to what's going on inside the body. Yeah.
Okay. And patients don't pay for it, right?
No, it was covered by the OHIP. Yeah, I just changed the landscape. And then that led me to not only success, I won a lot of awards for that, for business excellence. And one of the key one was Entrepreneur of the Year award.
From Ernst & Young?
Ernst & Young.
Yeah, this is a whole list of accomplishments that he has
Yeah.
got, by the way.
Yeah.
So you are also in the board of directors of BDC.
Yeah.
Then York University, you were a governor in York University, Greater Toronto Airports Authority, you were a chairman, Treasury Board of Canada, Health Industry Management Program Director in MLSE, Board of Governors members in Royal Ontario Museum. The list is endless. Yeah. How did you, I'm thinking about that immigrant guy who's just 24 years old, came to Canada. By the age of 27, I think you said somewhere you already became a millionaire, right? And how did you get into these kind of networks where you right away became the most important person in those?
So here it is, a new immigrant, a new person who doesn't know anything. During that time, the network was only on the Bay Street, period. That was the network. So if you live in Mississauga, do business, you're never in the elite network. Let's call it elite network. So for me to get in there, it was a little harder because I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be there. So I say, how I can get there? So what I'd say, you know what? Go to university, stay in an academic environment, because there are good people there. Then I got into philanthropy, which was natural to me. So I started in Mississauga, then I came to Toronto, but I gave my time to serve.
What do you mean by going to the university like you were studying?
So once you are in academic circle, that is a big network. That network has a lot of knowledge. And that's only available when you're in the universities and all that. So I got one from there. Second one I got from philanthropy by giving my time to charities. And from there, I was meeting similar-minded people. So these are two things that helped me. The third thing that helped me to form my network was sports. I'm a very good golfer.
Okay.
So everybody wanted to play with me. My handicap was 2, right? So now all of a sudden I know people, and then when you know people, you start to know the good places also, right? My love for the sports, I start watching basketball, Raptors, and from there they picked me up to serve their foundation. So my network came from my common areas of interest, which is education, sports, and giving back. That's my network.
So what is advice that you would like to give for networking?
So you don't do network because you want to belong somewhere. You do network because ultimately you want to contribute, right? You want to have a network because of some kind of knowledge sharing, some kind of direction also. But the younger people, the mistake they make, they don't make network their common areas of interest. For example, they go to Las Vegas and collect 50 cards. That's not a network, right? So I made my network my common areas of interest. So it's still good. But the most important thing of the network is you have to keep it healthy. You have to contribute. You have to be there. And don't try to make it too big. It has to stay very narrow because maturity of the network is a big value.
But how do we get into the smaller room? And usually it's always said that, the biggest decision makers are in the smallest rooms. They're not in the widespread, like where 100,000 people are there. So how do you get into the smaller rooms?
So it's very interesting. You always want to be where the policies are made.
What do you mean?
You want to be on that table where the policies are made if you want to contribute. So let me give you an example. For example, why to participate in political process? Because political process. So there are 3 levels of the government in our country: municipal, county, state, province, and the federal. These are the people that make the law. So if you are contributing in the political process, you can give your feedback and they listen to you. They might incorporate when there's time to make the policies. If you're experiencing anything, instead of complaining, if you think something needs to be improved, instead of complaining, get on that policy table where those policies are made that can eliminate or improve what you don't like. So that's why it's very important to be properly educated, to be on the policy table, because on the policy table, you require a different set of knowledge. And for me, it worked very well because I have a very diverse education. And it helped me. Wherever I go, I was selected. Here I am, wherever I get selected on the board to provide the governance, I'm always on the audit committee. I'm not even an accountant. Billion dollar worth of corporation, I'm on the audit committee. That's my first choice. Or they put me there. So it's just the experience. I'm not an accounting expert, right? I can combine accounting with strategy and make sure the strategy flies.
Any story that you remember from back in the day where that's how you got into those positions?
So as I was saying, my love for the airport where my plane landed in 1985, and I say this airport, it's an economic engine. These airports connect Canada to the rest of the world. And people like coming to Canada, but this airport is not doing what it's supposed to do. It can do way more. It can become a global hub. So I prepared myself to serve on this board. I don't know no aviation, I'm not an accountant, and I don't know anybody. I prepared for 2 years. I learned everything about Navigation Canada, FDA, FAA, how the planes fly, and how the airlines work and all that. And here I am in 2006. They advertised they're looking for the board of directors. Mind you, even in 2006, who you know, that's where the system worked. It was very biased. But when they interviewed me, they didn't have any choice because I was the guy, right? So
And you didn't know anyone
no,
during that time?
no, I didn't have nobody I knew on the board. I didn't know anybody around or anybody. I just prepared it. I excelled in the interview so much that they didn't have any choice.
Do you remember anything from the interview that they asked?
Well, the first question they asked, it was very common at that time to ask, tell us about yourself. And here they are, a bunch of 60, 70 years old people sitting on the other side.
And how old were you?
I was about 40.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So they asked me, tell us something about you. I said, I have nothing to tell you. I'm sitting in front of you.
You said that?
Yeah. I'm sitting in front of you. You know everything about me. At that time, everything was your resume or CV.
Yeah.
Everything was in it. From
Yeah.
there, you can search.
Yeah.
You didn't have to search like nowadays. It was very limited search. So I was there. It was biased, but I broke that barrier.
What do you mean by biased?
Like who you know, those are the people only can come on the boards, right? They didn't look at if there might be one person very competent, might not have experience, but it's good for the future. So when I got in there, first of all, I wanted this airport to become a pure economic engine, become a global hub, deliver benefits to the Canadians because it had the potential. People generally like Canada.
Yeah.
Why can't they come to Canada, then go somewhere else like Dubai? So I made it economic engine. So I made changes that not everybody in the board should be experienced aviation expert or airport management or accountant. Somebody could be from any other field. Diversify it.
Right.
I changed it that this is an economic engine. It's not an airport to fly the airplanes. That's not our business. We're landlords. We just got to create the economic activity.
You changed the perspective of how to look into aviation.
Airport, yeah. And that came from my traveling, because I travel a lot. So I see some better airports, better countries, and how they are leveraging the power of the airport, and we were not. Right? Then there was few changes that needed to be made. Why people don't come to Canada, then they go anywhere else. If you look at Toronto, if you look at North American map, it's right in the middle.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be the hub. Not Chicago, not Atlanta. This is supposed to be a hub, but we didn't do it. We couldn't do it, but eventually we did it. And you could not make Toronto Pearson a true international passenger hub until you have a national airline. And our national airline at that time was Air Canada, which was in a financial mess. Time over time, the government gave it a lot of subsidies, a lot of bailouts, but it failed. And I knew it cannot make it. The strategy will not work until Air Canada is good. So anyhow, we worked out a deal with Air Canada that how about we do something, you buy new planes. The only way for Toronto Pearson to become an international passenger hub was that an airline must have 777s, Boeing 777, because they can go 18, 20 hours. And Air Canada didn't have the money. They only have Airbuses that can go 5-7 hours. So anyhow, deal was arranged, and Air Canada bought buses. The leadership was good. They bought the 777s. And then we made them that 10-year no strike from pilots, 10-year agreement no strike from air hostesses, and no strike from machinists. So it was smooth. Because Air Canada was known for strikes, paralyzing strike. Everything worked out, and it became an international passenger hub. And that led me, when I was on the board for 9 years, that I can only make this happen if I become a chairman of the board.
But that much conviction is also required to have.
So here I am. I never chaired any committee. I was a member of the various committee, and I got elected chairman of this airport because I told the people who are eligible to vote that I'm the better choice than the other people, because this is what I'll bring. This is what my leadership will bring. It was never done that way. Usually the chairman was the designated person years ahead, which is vice chairman. I broke that. I said, it doesn't need to be that. It should be the right person. And I did my canvassing, and I became a chairman. Once I became a chairman, we changed the whole management, changed all this government thinking kind of people, brought, the Howard Ang, the CEO from the Hong Kong airport, brought the best people from Heathrow airport, the airport that's up there. And here we are. Look at the Toronto, money-making machine. Toronto International Passenger Airport contributes about $40 billion to Ontario's economy, 200,000 jobs. 86 airlines fly from here and connects about, 146 countries in the world. It's not a small thing. It's a big thing, but I made it happen.
What do you enjoy the most, being on the board or running your own business?
Both. Because when you are serving on a board, it's a privilege. Because serving on the board is not about you, it's about the people, right, which this organization is serving. Because I like it because I feel very good when I'm in an uncomfortable situation. This is the time for me to excel. So most of the time when you're serving on the board, you don't even know what business they are in, what they do, because you're on the strategy side. You're not on the operation side. That's not your business. To look after the operation of an organization, that's CEO's job, not the board job. Board is strategic. So one of the board's number one job is to manage the reputation of the business, and then so on. So it's a very rewarding and uplifting when you serve on the board. Then the most important what I like, let's say there's 10 board members. There's a debate, there's an argument, there's a question and answer. And now you have to excel and put your point with all the big guns on the table.
Yeah.
So I learned the art of speaking. I went to the law school to learn the vocabulary, how the law works.
You even went to the law school?
Yeah, I went to the Oxford Law School. So just to see how to use the vocabulary, because anything you do, the law, fortunate, unfortunate, is a part of it.
Yeah.
And most of the people don't understand what they sign, right? And I just wanted to get that over with so I can understand sign. I don't need anybody to explain it to me. And it was hard. I was 50 years old when I went to the law school.
Which school did you go?
Oxford Law School.
How much was the duration?
It was a Master of Laws. Most of the time it takes like 24 months, but I finished it, I think, in 14 months. Yeah. So I was given exemption because I didn't have the LLB because I had experience. So I was put straight in the Master of Laws.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And from there I learned it, and then you excel. It's a very different feeling. It's like going to Olympics. You prepare, you show up for the meeting, and you're dealing with the management that's super bright. And now you're providing a governance to the business and leadership to the people who are very bright. So what happened? It makes you better.
Better.
Yeah.
But you would want this. That is why,
I
you are a learner. This is what I can figure out from our conversation. I think even right now you are learning something new.
Yeah.
What is that?
I'm learning that how to do the podcast.
No. Apart from this, I think you told me something about cybersecurity.
Oh, yeah. So I'm in the school because I believe in living a relevant life. I believe that one should always feel useful, purposeful, and contributing. That's our human. Wow. We are human. That's why we think.
I'm so impressed.
If you don't have these 4 or 5 things, you're going to feel like, I don't want to say what. So if you look at everything gone digital, here's a guy who was brought on pen and paper, fountain pen, then ballpoints came, and then we did our calculation on the slide rule, then the calculators came. Then when I was doing MBA, the laptop came. And then later on the modem came where you dial and put the phone on it. Then slowly emails came. The website, of course, and then I seen the banking becoming digital, and I never imagined you can deposit the money just by taking a picture. I seen that too. And now with the pandemic, everything really gone digital. So there's a lot of fear. So I learned from my father, because he improved a lot by going to schools here also and all that. But he could not keep up with technology. He was so rapid, and he was getting old. He was in the 80s. And then as a result, he could not enjoy few of the things. He didn't feel relevant, but he had his son. So I filled up that gap.
Filled up the gap.
So, and I say, I'm not going to have those things. My children feel it. I don't want my children to feel that way because it's very concerning for a child when the parent is not up to date, when the parent is not feeling good. It's a very bad feeling for a child.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to give it to them.
Yeah.
So I say, I'm not going to have my children to worry about me, at least for two things: my health and the not up to date with technology. So we live in the era where everything is run through the technology. And when you use more technology, there's a more fear of cyber attacks. And now you have artificial intelligence playing a key role. And it's better to learn what it is, how it works. And there's no better place to learn that by going to Stanford.
Yeah.
So that's where I am now.
So you're learning from Stanford.
I'm learning from the best. And so far I'm finding it's not a big thing, to be honest with you. It's just human behavior being made available to you. But second thing, I'm doing it because I have a very diverse education. And I love serving on the boards. For me to have my previous experience stay valuable, I need to attach to that valuable old education the certificates of the newer education, and that is the artificial intelligence cybersecurity. If I attach to my old education the new certificate, I'm very valuable and very highly sought person. So it's a 2 years of investment, but it's going to help me a lot. And there are some people, they have old education, is almost obsolete now.
Yeah.
But I don't want that to happen. So I want to be more valuable.
So you're changing with time, whatever the future is looking forward to, and you are already adapting according to that.
Let me share with you one thing. If you don't change with the time will change you. You want to change before the time is going to change you.
When did that hit you?
Right from a very young age. I always change before that.
Was it a fear of something?
It's a feel and the fear, both.
What is your driving factor in life?
When I learn something new, when I fail that I'm doing something and I can't do it, when I'm doing something is taking too long, then I really get in the groove. Something I never done it before. I love doing that, but I'm not taking any risk. Just going into social media. It took me quite a bit of time because I come from the era you don't show off. Putting your picture outside when I was growing up is showing off. Right? Putting your video outside is showing off. You're 64 years old, you're putting your video outside, what's wrong with you? Right? So I came over all those things. And the whole credit goes to, I'm always surrounded by the younger people because I genuinely believe the younger people are very smart. All my life learnings are from the younger people. And the relationship I have with them, because I always look that I'm going to learn from you. And I never tell anybody what to do. Whatever they watch, they can do it. But I never mention anything.
What is one thing that you have learned from younger people?
From the younger people, because their viewpoint is not narrow from a textbook what I had. It's here. Like when I was going to school, you had a textbook. Teacher will teach that textbook and the exam will come to a textbook. Big deal. Next year, other student read the same book. This is what I was brought up. But mind you, books were this big.
Yeah.
Right? They made it difficult because they were longer, essay type, everything. But nowadays, these younger kids don't even have books. When I went to the school, there were no books. It was just regular, some practical cases, a practical scenario. You give your legal opinion or business opinion on that. So their viewpoint is global, or at least global knowledge, or from the global point of view. And I just admire that. But I also believe the living is all about what you leave for the next generation. So if you don't have a connection with the younger generation, and that's the only way you can stay relevant.
When you said that something that you want to leave for the next generation, do you mean in terms of legacy, which sometimes comes in the form of the money, or sometimes it comes off with the education and the work that you have provided? What is that definition for you?
Legacy, in my opinion, is related to when you die. Right? Who cares when you die? Who cares? Tell me. Everybody gonna forget you within a year.
Probably less.
So the legacy, in my definition, you live the life how you want to be remembered.
How do you want to be remembered?
That's the way I'm living on my life now. I just want to be remembered. He always liked learning. He gave whatever he could. And he always wanted to improve. And he always was not right. It's normal to make mistakes. It's normal to fail. There's nothing wrong with it.
What is the biggest regret that you have had in your life?
I forget my regrets because there's no use in remembering them, because what is going to do? Most of my regrets are related to the people around me. But I have one personal also. It took me a long time to know, to realize how important the sleep is. I wish I had learned that. Like when I was raising my children, when they were sleeping, I didn't say anything. Right? And I see my grandchildren, they sleep, no problem. Because sleep is such an essential part of your living, right? And we don't sleep.
Yeah.
Right? One other thing that I wish, my father lived longer than my mom, that I come to the compromise that my father is getting old. And I kept him saying, why are you doing this? I didn't realize he was getting old. For me, he was always the strong man.
Yeah.
And I forgot to realize he's aging.
Yeah.
There's a normal decline in few things. And I will tell him, why are you doing this to me? And I won't say that was wrong, but that's all I knew at that time.
That's what you knew.
Yeah, that's all I knew at that time. I mean, when we were young and all, we all made so many silly things, motorbike accidents, doing the things which your parents say don't do it, doing the things which your children say don't do it, doing the things where the law say don't do it. So we all done it. I'm so glad I survived and didn't get into trouble.
Yeah. There's a very interesting thing that you talked about, the sleep cycle. I think not many people even talk about it, and some people are completely on the opposite spectrum. I'll give you one insight that I think in some of your videos also you've spoken that you would prefer having long sleeps, which are 8 to 10 hours of a sleep. But there are some entrepreneurs and like highly renowned entrepreneurs like Narayan Murthy from Infosys. And he said that, everybody must work 70 to 80 hours in a week. How is it is contradicting to sleep? So how do you think, what are your thoughts about that?
I mean, I agree with them also what they're saying, right? But nobody knows the long consequences.
Yeah.
I am a science and data guy. I believe in science. Stories are okay, but when it comes to the health, I always believe in science. And the science says you must have a good sleep. It's not about 8 hours. It's the proper sleep. Sleep has cycles, right? Sleep is like a hygiene. Right? You wash your hands and all that. That's where sleep is necessary, because there's so many, cleaning and changing and, futuristic thing only happen because of the good sleep.
Yeah.
So when people listen, Krishnamurti sleeps only 5 hours a week, but he says it. You don't know. You got to try it on yourself. I always say, listen to the other people, collect that information, See if it works for you. If it doesn't, change it.
But you oppose his ideology, his thinking process about like the youth should work 70, 80 hours?
Well, it's his saying, right? I don't know him.
Yeah.
And he has every right to say it. He might be right. But I believe in science. I believe in data.
But do you think that people today are working less hours as it was supposed to be, or as it was earlier during your time?
So there's a various way to look. The economic way to look is the productivity. And if you look at the productivity of the Western world is declining. So that should tell you
That's
what's happening. Because of the technology, because of the availability of everything on your fingertips, I think people are spending more and more time staying awake. It has become addiction. Because as a human, we have a tendency, which is a bad, to know everything.
Yeah.
Especially the things you're not supposed to know it. I mean, I give you a simple example. You go to movies, you don't understand, you take off. You say, okay. But when you are on Google, you never stop.
Yeah.
Thanks to ChatGPT.
Even like when you're scrolling on social media, there's a reel which will come in. You have no interest in even watching it, but it just gets you curious. What is it all about? And you'll just keep watching it.
So as I was saying, as a human, we have tendency to know everything.
Yeah.
So these marketing, these algorithm you call it, they know when to put something in front of the human when they're looking for something. And usually that's an image.
Self-image.
Some image will come in front of you. Okay, let's buy that. Right? If you look at the advertisement at the nighttime are different than the advertisement during the daytime.
Yeah.
Right? So they know they have perfected it, what the human is looking for in this time. I mean, advertising is a science now. I will call it neuroscience.
It is.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your love for suits.
A love for the clothes.
Like I want to give a little bit of a perspective. I think you're sitting in those board of directors, in those meetings, in those kind of environment that also requires some kind of an authority. And authority comes with two things. One is the way that you perform, like what you dress up, and your body language. So let's try to integrate these two things. And what are your thoughts on that?
So my love for wearing a jacket, wearing a shirt, or whatever it is, it comes from my upbringing. So I was raised in Christian schools. So the uniform,
like in Sanar?
Mandatory. All over, right from the beginning to it was mandatory. When I was growing up, it was socially unacceptable you wearing a pajama and you're going outside. There was a difference that these clothes are for sitting or walking in the house. They're not meant for outside the house. So I grew up in that era.
Grew up in that area.
Then you're right. How you dress up is basically your introduction without saying a word. Your dress up is an indication, or mostly you can say it enhances your body language, whichever you want it, right? Whether you want a glamorous look or you want to have an authoritative look. So it's a tool also. It provides the comfort also from the weather. And what I believe in, because I have a very high sports background, because when you put certain kind of uniform attire or clothes, you're ready to do something. When I go to the gym, they need to be the gym clothes. They need to be touching my body. They need to feel tight. The running shoes should be down there, the socks and everything. You feel you're going to the gym. The outcomes are very good. You go to the gym with the same pajama and all that, what you're going to get out of it? You'll be spending most of the time by playing with your iPhone. And I want to tell you, I play with iPhone a lot. Look at this finger. It's crooked here. Look at this one, it's straight.
Is it because of the scroll?
Yeah.
Really?
Scrolling. So now I type with the thumbs. Right? Scrolling.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's rolling and touching, typing. So I don't type it from the phone now. I just go to the iPad now.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
So the body language, we should never discount it, even on top of the email language and the other languages we have. the body language. End of the day, a human is an animal. We come from that. And one must watch wild animals and nature, how they navigate their life without internet, without alarm clock, without how they express their interest in other animal or another breed, and how they hunt and all that. It's all body language.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a tool. I think when you, on top of that, if you want to have your body language to be effective for you, a little bit of clothing helps.
Have you experienced, like we were talking about that, when you are in a room, how your body languages, changes the environment around you? Like we were talking about cold, warm, that kind of a sense. Do you feel when you are in that kind of a room and your body language is
Of course,
speaking something?
I'll give you a simple example. Let's say I'm chairing a meeting, board of governors, board of directors. So when I sit on my seat, it says chairman. I should look like a chairman. I should make them feel I'm a chairman. So your clothes, your dress up, of course, it matters. How you move on the table, how your computer is set up and all kind of stuff. It tells you you're an authority. You are the authority.
Right.
Right? If you're sipping like every 2 minutes of coffee and getting up at 5 minutes, get another shot of coffee and all that, it tells you you're not there. It's very simple.
Yeah.
Like I go to the board meetings and all the 5 hours, I won't touch anything.
You don't drink coffee?
No, I don't touch anything because I'm giving my time why I'm there. And there are certain members, they do this thing because they have some deficiency in their health. And we as a human, we should be able to operate from the food, outside the food at least 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours. There's no way that we cannot. But it's a body language. If somebody gets up and have a coffee, then the muffin, then the biscuit, and this one, you should win from this person. You got that person. If you're debating or negotiating with that person, you got that person.
Distraction.
You got it. He's weak.
He's weak.
Yeah. Seeking sugar, glucose going up, going down, you're winning. Right? So being the chairman, you could do that. You look at which member is paying attention, and then you involve that member to get the agenda to the next. They're always going to be out of the 15, they're going to be 4 or 5 sleepers. I mean, I call it like looking at London and talking to Tokyo. They're there, but they're not. There are a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
And especially in this era.
Yeah.
This era.
Yeah. Have you never had alcohol?
I tried.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. I tried. I tell you why I don't drink. When I was growing up, my father said, if you drink alcohol, your brain gonna rust.
That's what your father said?
Father said, very young age.
So he never drank alcohol?
No, I'm telling you, I did.
No, your father?
No. He did a little bit, but he was very anti also.
Okay.
So he said, your brain gonna rust if you drink. I said, he's lying, he's from village. And so when I became a teenager, so I tried. So every time I read the book, as I told you, I was always a number one or topper student in my class or universities. I could not sacrifice that rank. And I will drink. And next day when I go to the book, I really doesn't come to me. I said, man, he's right. Then I tried a different brand. And somebody said, oh, put some more water in it. Somebody said, put some Coca-Cola in it. I tried everything.
Yeah.
It never suited me. And till now, when I look at it, is how my father programmed me. At my time, drinking was socially unacceptable in normal families.
Normal.
The rich families did whatever they want to do. And I did one day drink. I want to share with your audience. 3 days in a row, I had a little bit money, and I come home drunk, and I'm about 17 years old. And I thought my parents don't know. Of course, they knew because I was throwing up all night. So one day morning, my mother called me. She said, where do you buy the booze? I say from the liquor store. And she told me, good families, kid, don't go to liquor stores. And that struck me. This is how important it is to look to listen to your parents. Whatever they're saying, it has a meaning for not now, for longer, for later. So when I came to western part of the world, so I thought, you know what? Drinking is a part of the networking. Drinking is part of success. So I tried here also. You bring somebody, you offer them drinks and all kind of stuff. I will go to the liquor store. I just hold my breath. I just want to get out of here because I could not stand there. And then the lineup used to be so big, everybody pay cash and then they put in a bag and all that. It was torture. And it really didn't suit me. I tried. But there are other things that suit me.
Like,
Water. Right?
what is the best?
Water, exercise, and working, listening, giving my time away, and that suits me. So I compensate from the other side.
I also left alcohol 3 years ago. And just like you, I think I never drank when I was in college. I drank, I think, after college. In fact, I was completely vegetarian also until college. After that, when I started, because of social network and everything, and I would just drink alcohol just to get drunk, not for the taste of it.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize during that time, whenever I used to have alcohol, every single time, my head used to ache. And the moment when I'll have the first sip, my head aches and I'll have paracetamol and I'll eat it every single time. I didn't see that my body was giving me signs to not have it. But then something triggered 3 years ago and I left it completely, not even touched after that.
And the another disadvantage is because in the Eastern society, when I was growing up, the family doesn't introduce you to alcohol. Like what I see in my Western society, when the child comes a little bit older, they start giving them a drink. So they better be drinking at home and feel what it is. Me and you, what we did, we started very late, so we wanted to get hammered.
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfect.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's what I
never
thought.
knew what is a one drink mean.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's a disadvantage, but because we grew up in that society, but you know what? It's good.
Yeah. What are the 5 healthy habits that you have in your life right now?
There are many, but I'll try to count it. Number 1, sleep. Number 2 is ability to fast. Number 3 is the ability to make sure you're hydrated all the time. Number 4 is you make sure every day you're learning something and you have a proof for that. You apply that you learned it and make sure you keep it. And the last one is the nutrition. The food is a nutrition. Don't eat it because it's taste. Eat it what's good for you. Food is a very private, personal matter that nobody knows except you. So if you look at this physical body, what it likes protein to build up whatever is damaged. It likes fat because fat is a fuel.
Yeah.
Right? And then the third one is carbohydrates because the nuts, the legumes and all kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I always make sure I have my required protein from good sources. Number 2 is fat from good sources. After that, I don't really care whatever I eat. Still in a good range, but I don't care. And that's the way one should eat. Carbs are not bad. How can you discount it? 71% of the global population get 100% of their calories from the carbohydrate. How can you say they're bad?
Yeah. I totally agree.
No, it's the processed food that's bad.
What is something that you would never eat?
I tried, that's why I'm telling you, I will never eat. It's hard for me to tell, but I think the chips and those kind of empty calories, I will not do. It's hard to say.
Like, would you say pizza, fast food, burgers?
Pizza is very good for you.
Is
burger
it?
is very good for you. Oh my God, it's good for you. It's just no. It's just a variety of food. You eat it, make sure if you're eating protein, it comes from the meat, chicken, fish, whatever you are. It comes from the legumes. It comes from the nuts, right? It's the small amount of nutrient that's present in the almond, in the Brazilian nut, in these things that matters. That's where your organ thrives, right? And that's why these foods were created. They naturally have some vitamins or minerals in combination with protein and fat. That's why they say eat variety.
So, like eating burger pizzas is okay, you mean?
Yeah, what's wrong with it? When there's a room in the you need to eat.
But not regularly, you would say.
Always variety. Yeah. And you should know what's good for you or not. I don't think the book should tell you. One should put the knowledge.
Yeah.
Eat.
Yeah.
Make mistake, change. If it works, keep it.
Do you like to try a lot of things? Or is it that you like to have a consistency in what you're having?
This is one thing, I don't try new things.
In food?
In food, in life, in general. And that's why I was telling you earlier, my friendship, I cherish it, I maintain it because I know it's very hard for me to make new friends. My network, I cherish it, I work hard for it in many ways because I know it's very hard for me to change because I don't like to do that. Same thing in clothes, same thing in my food. I have a meat, I have a fish, I have a chicken, right? So I don't change much. And especially in the food, I tell you why. Let's say I eat something that's outside my 5 things I eat regularly. So now I know what to eliminate. But if I'm eating 20 things, how do I know which one is not working? Right? So that's the advantage. But when I'm traveling and all that, but I think nowadays there's so much variety available, you can get what you like.
Do you miss something that you used to have during your childhood that you don't have it anymore?
I miss my mother. I still remember the love of my mother, her warmth, holding me on the chest. I think I know my mom when I was about 8-9 months old. And she, as I told you, she could only sign. She wasn't educated, but she was so wise that up till now, what I seen her doing is good. What I learned in a business school, my mother knew it. What is teach, how to treat people, she knew it. How to groom people, she knew it. What not to say, she knew it. Mind your own business, she knew it. I mean, I miss her. And the other thing, I miss it because they seen a lot because they survived the World War II. And she didn't get a chance to see my success. My father did. He stayed with me for a long time.
When did she pass away?
My father passed away in 2017.
And your mother?
Mother died in 1987. When I came here in 85, I got a phone call. The mother died. You got to understand, being an immigrant, when I came, there was no phone. You can call back home and talk to your mom and dad. You're missing them. If you can, it's very expensive, like $2 an hour or a minute. There was no emails. You only write letters on the papers, and the reply comes in 2, 3, 4 weeks. And it was very different when people of my generation, when we came here. Now it's very easy. You can do FaceTime.
Yeah.
It was different. Like, one day I will know how hard it was. Right now I don't. I say it's hard because when I see with other people, I see my grandchildren on the FaceTime, and that's acceptable. You know, they see me on the social media is acceptable. It's like in person, hello.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm grateful what I had.
Given what you know at the age of 64 years of age, what is one thing that you would like to tell your 20-year-old self?
There's so many. I have so many, I don't even recollect which one I should have told myself. I will split it up in two. One personal, one business. On the personal side, I should have told Vijay, there's a lot of time to achieve what you want to achieve. It doesn't need to be achieved in 1 month, 1 year, 5 years. I rushed in my life so much that you put something on the moon, I will go get it. As a result, I start believing sleep is for losers. I start believing people who can't work on Saturday, Sunday, they're losers. But there's a time. You don't need to rush. Just equip yourself. On the business side, I wish I'd known that every employee is putting their best. They're not incompetent. They're putting their best. That's all you're going to get. Don't push them.
Do you think money can buy happiness?
Money, I know there's two sayings now. Let me tell you, money is like oxygen. You need it. But you have to breathe yourself. But in order to have money, you got to have time. You have to have a health. So now it comes to, if money is the only factor that brings happiness, so there's a 1.4 billion people live in China, 1.5 billion in India, Philippines, and all that. If you look at their per capita income, is way lower than what we have it here. So we think they are unhappy. No, they're happy. Look how the population is growing. Look how the technology is going. Look at the deep seek. They produced it under 6 million. So I think what I'm teaching now, what I'm spreading now, that health, time, and flexibility is the happiness. What good it is if you can't enjoy what you have. What good it is if you have something is biting you. What good it is you can't go get up and do something for that. What happened if you can't serve meals on a Thanksgiving day to 100 people, 200 people, right? It's a very personal definition, but I think the three component, that's what makes you happy. But how we grew up, we always equated happiness to money, right? But it worked that time. I think it was the factor that made me excel. But now at 64, no, you gotta have three things together.
I see from our conversation that it seems like that you were very close to your mom. Is there any one of the fondest memories of your mom that you can recall?
I have so many memories of my mom. The best one is, because I was the youngest child, I told you, she will be the person, will get up 5 a.m. in the morning, milk the cow. Everybody had a cow when we were growing up at home. Everybody drank their home milk. She will make the butter from, from the yogurt. Then, and she's holding me on the chest as she's doing all this work, and everything was manual. There was no heating, there was no air conditioning. Whatever is outside temperature, so is inside. And she's holding me, and she's reciting the name of the Lord all the time in such a rhythmic fashion. I hear those words now in my prayers. I see my mom talking to me. And how I equate those things, because we have an evening prayer, and when she used to say that word, so I knew it's going to end now. So I'm going to get a food, right? So I have that very fond memory of touch and feel, and the voice, the energy. It was very different. I still remember it. It hasn't left me. Same thing, my father hasn't left me. The brightness in my father's eyes, I still remember when I bring a report card. He's showing me the books. Mind you, there was no internet, there was nothing, so it was all books, picture books. And I'm 3-4 years old. I want to share this one with you, how he imparted. I told you not to drink alcohol, but what else he did. He will show me a book. This is from the Life magazine. And there will be elephant. I'm 3 years old, elephant, of course, you feel good, because in India they worship elephant.
Yep.
Then he will show me lion. I say, oh, this is good, lion. Then it's tiger, then the birds and all kind of stuff. Then he come back to lion again. I say, wow, it's good. Then he come to the elephant. And then he say, who's the king of the jungle? I say, lion. He say, who's the big? I say, elephant. He said, why the lion is a king? I didn't understand why he's saying that. So I knew what the king is, but I don't know what the king do or how do you become a king. He was so smart. He knew with limited resources I can give a gift of health to my child, to my son. He said, the reason the lion is a king of jungle, he has a small waist. Look what he did. I always behaved in my eating, my exercise, my everything, because he put in there the waist. It's proven if the waist is small, you're very healthy. Waist is small, you're not obese. Waist is small, you're not insulin resistant. Waist is small, that when
You're not always starving.
It's everything.
Yeah.
I remember when he was 91, last day when I hugged him before I went to the work. He stood up, he hugged me. He always held me with his hand, pushed me this way, always looked from the side, making sure my tummy is not coming out. All the way. And he would hold my arm tight, making sure the muscles are there. He passed away walking outside. In nature. Two beautiful things they taught. My mom, the love, the warmth. And my father, 1-2 things is good for all my life.
What is one advice you'd like to give it to me?
I think every podcast you do, I see a lot of future in this thing because I believe this social media or media is an equal to networking now. You create a big network and deliver value. Just bring the best out of everybody. You're going to grow. You're going to grow. You're going to grow. Make them comfortable. Some people don't know. And always say are you creating value in the public also? Right? To your audience. And are you growing also? Keep up with technology, I think, which you know. But one thing I know, you only become good if you constantly deliver the best. There's no other way.
There's no other way.
So that's my advice to you. You know everything. keep doing it. And one golden rule, when you can smile, you're doing good.
So you were smiling, I think I did good.
You did good. It's very simple.
It's simple.
Yeah. Look at yourself in the morning in the mirror, spend 2 hours brushing your teeth, look into your eyes.
Yeah.
You know, it's so simple.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to remind yourself. Though.
That's all. It's so little. So little. A smile is pretty good. Yeah, a smile is pretty good. But you have these laugh lines, they're good for you.
They're good for you.
Good for you.
All right, sir. It was such a lovely conversation with you. I was getting a wisdom from my 64-year-old self, to be really honest. That's why, I wanted to be a little selfish here, which is why I started the questions from my selfish aspirations and ended it with so I really needed that in some way.
I think we all have ability to inspire other people because we're all unique.
Yeah.
And we should always be open.
Yeah.
That's why you asked me in the beginning, what's the relation with younger people? Because they inspire me.
Yeah.
And I look for...
And this is what I've learned from you.
I look for inspiration part only. I don't care about other part.
Yeah.
They wear hoodie. They wear this one. I don't complain anymore because I can't really do anything.
That was on me.
They're expensive, man. More than a suit. They're not cheap. They're expensive.
Yeah.
The sneakers you guys wear, like they're $1,000.
Yeah.
Right? And the phone you have, that's like $2,000-3,000. So it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's just the fashion change.
That's a fashion
Time change.
Yeah.
But I always look at the other person, how I'm getting inspired. I don't care about the rest.
Yeah.
I don't care about the rest. But learning should never stop.
Never should stop. Yeah. I've taken this advice from
In order
you.
to learn, you have to switch yourself to learning mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Intake.
Intake. Yeah.
Intake. Yeah. It's very good, very good way to develop your network. My mother taught me one thing. I wanted to mention it. When I was young, I was the youngest son, and very angry kind of demeanor. You're skinny, right? Skinny people usually angry, right? Because 90% thing you can't do, so you show anger, right? So when I got a little bit older, this is how mothers can give you life-lasting advice. One day she tells me, and she always knew when she has my attention. She says, son, I say, yes, you should conduct yourself anywhere in a manner. If somebody doesn't say good things about you, you make sure they don't say otherwise either. Mean they don't say bad about you too. So that should be the minimum operating rule for me is I want to be remembered. That I didn't do anything not to be remembered. So that means you put a lot of effort in it. I'm not pleasing. There's different things.
There's a different
not pleasing. I want to be remembered.
That's interesting.
Yep. Thank you so much.
All right, sir. Thank you for listening to this podcast. And if you're not subscribed yet, then click right now and subscribe, because every week I'm going to post a video or a podcast, and it is going to be about marketing, content creation, and business. And if you want to check out some other videos and interviews, then here are some of my recommendations for you.